So this is friends, dear friends, please all unmute. Okay, so shall we start that new program now? Actually, the Department of Political Science and Public Administration is usually regularly organizing so many online webinars and other training programs. It's a routine business, and in that series, today we are also organizing the webinar called AUM PetNet Event Series. The webinar title is Marching Towards Zero Hunger World, Understanding the Contribution of WFP. So you all aware of that the 2020 Nobel Prize already awarded, and that's highlighted in all the newspapers. As the Department of Political Science, it is the prime duty of us, and we have to organize such seminars and training programs in order to impart knowledge, especially the general knowledge among the students. So I welcome all the students, PG students, as well as the research scholars. Especially my warm welcome goes to the first year students. More than 20 students are joining here now, the first time, the first event. So my warm welcome goes to the freshers, right? And my own colleagues. All I hope that all my colleagues are present here, and I welcome you all. And today the resource person is Dr. Neelam Pandey, a senior professor, and he is an eminent researcher, scholar, come teacher, and he is having number of research papers in his credit, and he is always in dynamic attitude with regard to the teaching as well as the academic activities. So I invite Dr. Neelam Pandey ma'am to take this session. Thank you for all.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome and introduction. First of all, I thank our department and head of the department for giving me this opportunity to share my views on a very serious problem of the world, that is hunger. A very good morning to all my colleagues, friends, senior research scholars, students, and newcomers. Hope that everybody has enough food, because with hunger, you can't sit and listen. If you are hungry, your attention won't be there. We are going to share some thoughts about hunger. Before I start my lecture, I would like to say that I'm no expert of this area, yet I have tried to collect some information, some useful information, and my intention is to motivate you to do more research work and to do some action work to do something, what little share at least, to remove this problem of hunger from the world. So I will start my lecture with my slide share. Hope whether you people are able to see this slide or not, please. Okay. So this is the topic I selected because I was asked to speak specifically about this organization, no, WFP, that is World Food Program. It is not organization, it is a program. Okay. So let me see what about hunger, what Vivekananda has told about hunger. So long as the millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor who, having been educated at their expense, pays not the least heed to them. So he's just before so many years before, he has actually tried to motivate all of us that it is our moral responsibility to feed those who are hungry. Similarly, in Vedas also, you know, food is having a very auspicious place. It is just like God. It is treated as a Brahman, and the one verses of Rig Veda says, it is just a prayer to food. Oh, food, auspicious with auspicious means food is Shivan. Okay, it brings us health. It brings us life. So such an importance is there for the food in the world. For us, have you ever seen a child when immediately after a birth? Nurse, what they do in hospital, if the child is born in hospital, nurses immediately bring the child, after cleaning the child, they bring it, give to mother and feed. It means what? We are all born hungry. The moment the child is coming on this earth is with hunger. So here, I'm not going to discuss whether we live to eat or eat to live. Just I will remind you the one philosopher, French philosopher, he's saying that it is not really true to say that we eat in order to live. It is actually we eat because we are hungry. That seems true. And food is very, very, whosoever it is, it's for our very existence, it is necessary. Okay. Forget about all other philosophies and all, but if we have to survive, we need this. That's why mostly in all religion, not only in Hindu or all religion, food has a divine place. Okay. It is a thing of lot of respect. We are from the childhood, we are taught not to waste the food. Now, hunger, what is hunger? See, all of us, we might have experienced hunger of few hours, sometimes due to work, or sometimes we are traveling, we are not able to eat. But we are not going to talk about that hunger. That is a momentary hunger. It is not that. What is hunger? When you use the term hunger, the problem of hunger, what it is? Before I say something about hunger, we should understand it's the most disgusting and shameful condition for any society, for any community, for any nation, if there is hunger. Hunger is actually defined as scarcity of food. If food is in scarce, then it comes under hunger. Malnourishment, malnutrition, not only just stomach is full, so it is we are free from hunger. No, maybe in India that kind of hunger is not existing, that nobody is having anything to eat, but we are facing the second category. Malnourishment and malnutrition is also actually problem of hunger. If you are not getting right thing to eat, that is also hunger. Okay. And the term what we use, food insecurity, what is that? That is a kind of uncertainty, a mental pressure that whether the food will come or not, from where it will come. Now I had food, will I get it in evening, night or not, whether tomorrow I'll have. So that is that kind of condition which prevails. If the people are compelled to think in that way, then it is food insecurity. It means that society is not providing food security. So hunger is what? It is a distress associated with the lack of food. Okay. It is a mental pressure, physical pressure on an individual when the food is not available. If it is available, we are not eating, then it is not hunger. We may go on dieting, no, that is not. When it is not available at all, there is no food, there is a lack of food. And also some calculation says that one normal adult needs 1,800 calories per day. If that is not provided, if that much calories are not provided, then also it is hunger. But the term nourishment or undernutrition is actually not only just talking about calories. It is regarding the what type of intake is there, what type of food we are getting. Is it energy, giving us energy, some proper protein is there or not, some vitamins, minerals are available or not. And the term malnutrition, these terms we have to understand, because in all the documents, everywhere, if you try to see any debate or any writing on hunger, these terms are used. So malnutrition is both, it is undernutrition also and overnutrition also. Malnutrition is both, it means overnutrition also. The balance, when there is no balance in diet, that comes under malnutrition. And if there is a food security, it means that society, food is available, access to food, everybody is having access to food and they can use it. So these are certain terms which we should understand regarding the hunger. Now, as this WFP, World Food Program, is part of the program of UNO, UNO in its hunger report has also defined exactly what is the meaning of hunger. So according to that definition, the periods when populations are experiencing severe food insecurity. Okay, the term you should see, severe food insecurity. It means the entire days, day after day, they go without eating. And the reason non-eating is what? There is lack of money. Either they do not have money to buy the food, or there is lack of access to food. Food is there, but they can't access it, or some other resource problem is there. So this is the definition given by UNO regarding the hunger. Okay, if such situation prevails in any community, in any country, in any society, we can call that is the problem of hunger. Now, this is the map which has been published by the this hunger index. Global. There is one global hunger index is every year it is published. So the colors you can say, the orange color is dark oranges. It is alarming situation. So fortunately, India is not facing alarming situation. Some part of Africa is shown here as alarming problem of hunger. But India is comes under the category of serious problem of hunger. We are facing actually serious problem of hunger. Okay, that is our issue. And the light green color, moderate problems are there. That is also very few. And then the low, the whole of China, you can see all those things are in very low, means manageable. And then the white part which you are seeing, there is not much, means this is a negligible problem of hunger. Though when I was searching for this, preparing for this lecture, I came across on many websites where some NGOs are talking about the problem of hunger in USA also. Maybe number is very less there, but there are few people in the developed nations also who are facing the problem of hunger. Okay. Another data I would like to give you, which is given by the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the world. Its estimation is that almost 690 million people in 2019, they didn't get food, went hungry. And this is 10 million addition. In 2018, it was 10 million less. 5 years before, it was even 60 million less. So you can say every year almost 10 million, if we are adding to this population, where will we go? So the main reason may be high cost and low affordability. Prices are high, income is less. That's why people are not able to, are not able to afford the food. And number wise, if we see, number wise, the highest number of hungry people is in Asia. After that, followed by Africa. And this COVID-19, this pandemic has actually doubled the problem. It has posed serious threat to the poor nations or the poor people of the world. And it is said, one guess is there, that because of this, maybe 130 million more people will be added to this category because of loss of job. No business is there. Many people have lost their job. Asia, it remains number-wise, again I'm telling number-wise, undernourished people are here, 381 million. Second number, Africa, 250 million, and the third is Latin America, where 48 million people are facing the problem of hunger. As our population is growing of the world, as the population of the world is growing, the number of hungry people or the victims of hunger is also increasing. But this data we should see in other way also, because it is not giving the clear picture. We may think that, okay, Asia is the most affected, but percentage-wise, if we see, Africa is having hard time. Hardest hit region is Africa. Okay, because 19.1% of the people of Africa, they are undernourished. Okay, whereas in Asia, it is just 8.3, and in Latin America and all, it is 7.4. So, but totally, because Asia population-wise, it is more, no? So that's why number increases. But if you see the percent of that particular region, African region, then the Africa is a hard-hit area. And if this goes on, if this trend goes on, by the year 2030, in the African continent, more than half of the world population will be chronically hungry. More than half will be from Africa. It is an estimate, it is a guess. If something concrete has not been done, if we are, even now, if we are not taking any effort, then this will certainly happen. Okay. The region of Africa, south of Sahara, South Asia, these are actually having highest problem of hunger, undernutrition, okay, in these areas. According to this, the most worst hit nation, even in Africa, which nations are, alarming levels are, 4 countries are there: Chad, Timor, Leste, and then Madagascar. So these countries, they are facing alarming situations. And in that list, we can add 8 more nations, that Burundi, Central African Republic, Comoros, Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, South Sudan, Syria, Yemen. Mostly we think that Somalia is there, but no, more than Somalia, that other countries are. One more thing we should remember here, the conflicting areas, wherever conflict is there, either it is a ethnic conflict is there, it is a within the boundary or some warring nation, there only these problems are more. These problems are more in those areas, rather than the areas where peaceful political condition or political stability is there. What are the causes of hunger? See, when you search, there are so many causes, agriculture, this, that. But I have selected, to me, I feel that these 3 are the more significant causes. The villain of hunger. These 3 are poverty, wastage, and somewhere, especially in case of countries which are agriculturally rich, fertile land, So maybe then also we say that people are hungry. Like in India, we say we are agriculture and really we grow so much, our farmers grow so much. Then also we say that there is a hunger. I was surprised to see when I just tried to search information regarding in which state of India is worst hit by hunger. The answer was Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. Then again and again I searched. No, I was really wondering how these are one of the agriculture. Punjab, known for fertile land, more for its agriculture. Yet some areas are there, some people are there, maybe food is not accessible to them. So maybe there is some problem in distribution. Okay. So I find that these three are the reason: poverty, wastage, and problem in distribution. Poverty there is a direct connection between the poverty and the hunger. Okay. Because one data says that the global food production, if we say, it is actually more than enough to feed all of us. Okay. Our total number, if we take the population of the world, it is somewhere near 7.6 billion. Okay. And what our farmers are growing, it is enough for even 10 billion, which we think that after 2030, our population will reach to this number, 10 billion. There is an excess, no? Despite this excess, hunger still exists. How is it possible? No, it's a puzzle, no? But when there is more food, enough food, extra food is there, then also we are now sitting and talking about hunger, and people are, this much percentage of people are hungry, that much are, this is malnourishment. Why? How it happened? Because it is related to poverty and inequality, not the scarcity. We cannot say that there is a scarcity of, yes, there was a time, but with the development of new technologies, development of in agricultural fields, so much of research has been done. No, after that, that problem is not there. So scarcity is not a problem. The problem is people do not have capacity to buy the food. Okay. That is the problem. Okay. And I wonder, the most affected are who? Only those class of the people who are working in the field. Labor, agricultural labor, if you see the statistic, that they are poorly paid and they are the worst hit people who face hunger. So this even the Food and Agricultural Organization of United Nations, it also says that means more than requirement we are growing. We can feed everyone, yet we are not able to do that. So why? Because people do not have capacity to buy it. No, nobody is having that much money, because mostly average income is what? Less than $2 US dollar a day. So from where will they buy food for all? Even if you take one household is having minimum 5 members in a family, for the 5, the price of the food is they cannot afford in this income. Okay. So the main issue is poverty. That's why the main goal has been in UNO is first goal. No, 17 goals are there, which I'll tell you later. First goal is to eradication of poverty. If poverty we are able to eradicate, then many problems will be solved. Many problems are just linked with the problem of poverty. And where actually our cereal grows then? When we are growing so much, where it goes? Are we wasting it? No. It is again one statistic says that most of our crops, no, whether it is a cereal, pulses, or fruits and vegetables, it goes for the biofuels, or it is used as a fodder for animals. you just think people are hungry, but that is utilized for the fodder for the animals, because the animals are fetching money for them. So some people have capacity to buy food for their animals, so they buy. I'm not saying that it is wrong, but that is the condition of our society. Okay? It is happening. That's why the main focus should be on take care of your livestock, take care of your automobiles, but please give first priority to the hungry people. For that, alternatives are possible. A livestock can eat other things also, but the people, the humans, they need food. They need a particular type of food to survive. So if our approach, our way of thinking, if it is changing, then only I think we can tackle this problem. The way we think like an economic man, like commercially, if we keep on thinking, these things will not go, whatever policy, whatever effort is taken by the government. Okay. Second very serious problem is wastage. Wastage means too much of food is wasted. Too much of edibles are wasted. You have seen that if you go to any fruit market or vegetable market, big market I'm saying, you'll be seeing tons and tons of vegetable and fruits are rotting there. Because if it is not sold, it will rot there. They will not give it free to any poor people, or they will not send it to any orphanage. Okay, let it be used. Families, how much we are in habit of overcooking. We cook so much, and always there will be leftover. Most of us, maybe nowadays, I think we are more economic, but mostly there is a habit of overcooking. Here I would like to mention about Indians, that especially in marriages and all, how much food is wasted, and that too from the time when this buffet system has started. There will be variety of food will be there. So much will be there that even if we eat only salads, we can fill our stomach, but people will take everything and there will be heavy wastage. This maybe sounds maybe very small thing, but yet it has its own significance. Okay, so there are actually in the wastage, we can say that two types of, that is United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, it tells that 1/3 of the world's supply, it is lost. Okay, either in the supply chain, from farmers to reaching to consumer, in that chain itself it is lost, and then some is lost by the consumers after we buy and we waste it. Okay, so this kind of food loss is there, that accounts at 1/3. I remember Locke, John Locke, political thinker. We think that John Locke is supporting the right of property. Yes, he has supported right of property. We oppose him as a great individualistic thinker, this and that. But one place, I found that whether John Locke is also a communist way of thinking or something, when he tells that how much property or how much food can we accumulate, he tells as much as anyone can make use of to any advantage of life before it spoils. Means we are allowed to accumulate that much which we can consume. Those things which we cannot consume, which we are just, it is going waste, it is not us, it is not for us, actually it belongs to others. So that thought Locke has given us years before regarding wastage. Do not conserve, do not preserve, do not stock those things which you can't consume, and finally you throw it in dustbin. Okay. It means whatever is going in dustbin, it was not my share, it was not your share, it was somebody's share. Somebody's share we have thrown in dustbin. Okay, that we should not do. We should avoid that. We should remember always John Locke. Okay. So our inability to feed the entirely and means the entire world is not able to get the food. One culprit is food waste. Also. We are wasting globally 30 to 40% of food is wasted. And in less developed countries, this wastage is less. But in developed countries, it is more. Less developed countries actually, they are also wasting, but it is in the process of supply chain, because there is no proper cold storage are not there, storage problem is not there, or if cold storage is there, farmers can't afford it. In that way, there is wastage is there. But in developed nation, once it reaches to the consumer, then it is wasted, because the cost of food is very cheap there. Okay, it's a very cheap. They can afford it, and they do not mind it throwing or wasting it. So 1.3 billion almost, no, it is lost or wasted. This is again data from Food and Agriculture Organization. Every year we waste that much. And in this, one rough calculation says that 45% is fruits and vegetables, 35% is fish and seafood, 30% cereals, and 20% dairy products and meat and other things. And as I told you before also, the developed nations waste more, developing nation waste less, but developing nations, they waste in the supply chain. This is one figure which shows that how, in which reason the food is wasted. Two colors are here, the dark blue and the light blue. Light blue is from production, from the field to the retailing, how much it is wasted. And then the consumer, how much consumers are wasting. This you can see. In Asia, if you see, notice, and Latin America, the downwards, South and Southeast Asia, you can see as we are going to poor countries, the wastage is less. As the developed nation, the wastage is more. One more way of seeing it, that 1/3 of the food, what we are producing, it goes uneaten. And the cost of that wastage is nearly $950 billion. So not only we are losing food, we are also losing money. And this uneaten food is responsible, not only it is giving us no food, there is another aspect of uneaten food, that it is harmful for the environment. I'm not going deep into that discussion, because my concern is only to draw your attention towards hunger. So place where the food is lost, one is near the farm, in the farm itself, no, because it is not able to reach the fields, and or near the plate. There are sometimes, if you talk to some farmers, they tell their experience. Suppose if there is overproduction, too much of production of some, especially vegetables and fruit, if there is overproduction, then also it becomes problem for them, because no merchant is ready to give them the good price for it. And they want to buy it very cheap, which is not enough for getting even what they have invested in that. Even for carrying, they have to spend so much money to carry their crop from farm to the market. So better what they do, they let it rot in the field itself, and they say, I will not sell my crop, let it go like this, because there is extremely low price available. So near the farm, that one way, and then also the sometimes natural, because there are no proper places to keep the safe. Just harvesting is done, there will be rain gone. Okay, so near the farm and then near the plate. Okay, how much we waste. Okay, I have heard, I don't know how far it is true. In Korea, if somebody is wasting food, then they are fined. In hotels, if they go and buy something, and if they waste in plate, they are fined actually. I think it may be against the idea of free society, but it's a good gesture. We'll avoid doing that. Our human nature is like that. Without fear, as Hobbes, we are less like Lockean. We are more like Hobbesian. Okay, we without any fear, they are not ready to do anything. Okay. So maybe this is one way of thinking. You may disagree with this. And then share what type of food is more wasted, perishable, that is vegetables and fruits. I have taken some idea about India, how much we waste in India. 2.21 million ton wheat is what we, from that 21 million is lost. Then the price of food which we are wasting per year, it is, you can see the figure, 800 crore. Food needed to feed India's population is 225 to 230 million ton per year. Worth of food wasted per day is 244 crore. Now farm output is this. Indian going hungry daily, 194. Percentage of total food wasted a year, 40%. Say how contradictory it is. It is just happening because of our habit of wasting. India, the latest this report of 2020, we rank now 94 in global hunger index, and we are actually now coming under the countries which are facing serious hunger problem. We belong to that category. And India, it is actually, the data says more about the nourishment problem. Nutrients are not available. Last year, India's rank was 102, but now we have become 94, which is we should all worry about it. We have, and you'll be surprised to know that the countries like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan, they are in better position than us. Maybe population is a reason or whatever, but we are bigger in size also. No, if we bigger, much bigger than Bangladesh, much bigger than Myanmar, Pakistan, yet they are having in hunger index, their place is better than India. This is again, we should think it. Why? We are planning to send on Mangalyaan and all, we are talking, but where we are, our index on hunger, why we are in 94th place? After giving you a general idea about the hunger, the status of hunger in the world, let me tell you something about the World Food Program. This is the hero of the day, actually. I was supposed to talk about this organization only because it has been given for its contribution. The Nobel Prize for Peace is given to this organization. Let me tell you background of this. United Nations is having one development program. They call it Sustainable Development Goals. I think it was launched in 2015. Okay, and 17 goals were set up. United Nations has set up 17 goals, and one target was given that all the member states, all the nations, they should try to achieve this goal by 2030. In 15 it was set, and then it was decided that by this time it will be taken. These are the goals. 17 goals are there. Number 2, if you notice, first one is poverty, as I told you, eradication of poverty is there. Number 2 is only zero hunger. This is one of the important goal of sustainable development set by UNO, that the people or the world should be hunger free. Apart from that, there are different things. So WFP, this man, David M. Beasley, he is an executive director of WFP at present. And this program is basically for the food assistant. It is a very much associated with the United Nations, and it is one of the largest humanitarian organization addressing hunger. Its main focus is only hunger, and it has 14,500 staff throughout the world, and 90% of this staff, they are working in the developing countries, because developing countries only have main problem of hunger. Average, if you see, on average, this program, it provides food to nearly 90 million people every year. And out of these 90 million, 58 million are children. And its headquarters are at Rome, and it operates in more than 80 countries. Its offices are in more than 80 countries. And people who are not able to get food, people are not getting enough food, it works for them, works for their families only. Okay. And it is also a member of United Nations Development Group. Its history, when it was established in 1961. Okay, after a conference of Food and Agriculture Organization was held in 1960. At that time, it was decided that we should have one separate program to combat the problem of hunger in the world. And formally, it was it started working in 1963, and only experimental basis. Nobody thought that it will grow so big. No, at that time, just for 3 years, no, let us see how it is working, whether the member nations and other countries are cooperating or not. So on experimental basis, it was given time for 3 years and then extended. Okay. Now it has continuously, it is working from 1963 onwards to fight against hunger. And it provides, not only it is providing just food and all, it provides in cash form also. It helps in different type of services. It provides war zones, conflict zones, any natural disaster is there. In such times, they are more active. Organization, if we say that the executive board is joint, there is one executive board, and it is jointly established by the United Nations and FAO, that is Food and Agricultural Organization, and there are 36 states are members. India is also one member of that. There was one agreement between India and Afghanistan. They actually share, no, this is for 3 years. So it was decided that initial year Afghanistan will be there and then India. So India and Afghanistan, they have shared the membership. So now it is India's turn. India is the member there. So there are totally 36 members are there. And then one secretariat is there for day-to-day office work. And then the executive director, whose picture I showed you in the first of this WFP itself. And he's in charge of all the programs and projects which are taken up by WFP. Now I'll just glance overview. I will give you about some facts about this organization. It claims that daily, on daily basis, nearly 5,600 trucks, 30 ships, 100 planes, they are always on move. For what? For delivering food and other assistance in the remotest area where people are not able to reach. There they give their services and provide assistance to the poor people. And it is mainly, as I told you, its main focus is during the emergencies, either emergencies caused by conflict or climate shock or any pandemic. Like in this COVID time also, they are working hard, but they say we are not having sufficient fund. it also that midday meal is there. No, in many countries it provides cash for that midday meal. 17.3 million children are getting food, improving both their nutrition and access to food because of this program only. How this funding, from where it comes? Mostly funding is coming in the form of donations. Either the member states are donating, developed nations and other, even the developing nation also they donate, or some private donors are also there. Okay, so in 2019 they have received the highest donation, that is $8 billion US dollar, but still because of COVID they say there is a funding gap, 4.1 billion, because at the time of COVID the hunger crisis has enhanced. They do not just provide food, they do some background work also, like improvement of lands. Instead of giving every time food, make them enable, let them develop, let them do something for themselves. So they have improved land also. Some forest land were planted, somewhere agriculture, the unfertile land was also used for cultivation. Okay. Such work also is done by them. In 2019 they have delivered around, why they have got Nobel Prize? No, these are their achievements, they show it, this is their achievement. 4.2 million metric ton of food was provided, and the data says it is for some, the weight is equal to Asian elephants, like that. Without then more than 3/4 of the food is brought from developing countries. This is also a point to be noted. They are not buying from developed nation, they buy it from developing countries, because developing countries are growing, but because of lack of money it is not reaching to the people who are poor. So they buy it from the developing countries, and then there itself they distribute, because then the transportation charge and other charges are minimized. WFP mainly, it is helping 15 countries to forecast about the climate, extreme climate, what kind of changes will come, what kind of disaster may take place. So they give advance announcement also, and many times they do cash transfer. Okay, suppose some disaster has to take place, so from there if the people have to move from that place, if they have to evacuate, for that they need money. So maybe sometimes because of lack of money, lack of thing, they are not able to move from that place. So they do cash transfer also, and more than 50% of the people of WFP, they are women and girls. So they give opportunity to women and girls. By all, they take care of everything, like buying food from developing nations, giving opportunity to women and girls. These are the you can say addition work taken by them. Now, what it actually, it is their target only, that zero hunger we have to reach by 2030. So what action plan they are having for that? First action plan is put the furthest behind first. Who is the person who is the least in the hierarchy of the society, the poorest? First you reach them. They are the people who are always left. Even if some social service NGOs, they are coming, they are not able to reach those, because it is difficult to reach there. So their aim is first try to reach those people who are the poorest, okay, and provide them opportunity for equitable economic growth. The area itself should be converted into a agriculturally rich, or some kind of more in economic activity should take place in that area, so that people will be empowered, economically empowered. Then pave the road from farm to market. See, this is the main challenge, how the crop should reach from farm to market. The recent bill of our Indian government is main criticism. No, the farmers, they are saying, no, the problem will be in this only. If there are no mediators, who will buy? And government is having its own explanation. So because the food is lost mainly in this journey only, when it travels from farm to market. So they work on that also. They make it possible that rural infrastructure, road facilities, this storage, electrification, these things should be provided to farmers, so that this gap can be eradicated. Third is reduce the food waste. This is also one of their action plan, that every person, this is now, cannot be done by any government. Government can do that, supply chain loss they can prevent, but other part of, as a consumer, it is our responsibility not to waste the food. Okay. I have seen, here I just I'm reminded by one very educated, sophisticated lady. She herself is a doctor. She came one day to my house. Okay. And there were some extra chapatis, and I have a cook. I do not cook. That cook has made extra chapatis. So she asked me, she is elder than me in age. She asked me why this much food is extra. I don't know, she will take it if it is extra. Then she said, better you, in front of her, you should throw these chapatis in dustbin, so next day she will not cook extra. See the mentality, she's not what I am thinking, okay, that poor person, she's cooking, so let her also have food. But she is saying you throw it in dustbin rather than giving us. This kind of mindset, I was really surprised. See, in that way also people think, there are people who think like that also. The food should not go to her, but it may go to dustbin. This kind of cunning thinking, culprit thinking, we should remove from our minds. Okay? First thing, we should not waste. Eat less. Nothing harm in eating less. Nothing, no harm. But if we eat more or throw it, it's a loss for the whole world. Then also they work on encourage sustainable variety of crops. The crops mainly, we throughout the globe we see the rice, wheat, corn, and soya. So the crops, the variety of crop, the variety of seed, it should be such that more yield should be there for the people with less investment. Then the first 1,000 days of a child, when a child is born, mainly what we are facing problem in case of India, our problem is that only, malnourishment. It takes place in the birth of, immediately after the birth of child, this first 1,000 days. There we should focus. The first 1,000 days of a child should not go under nourishment. They must get all the things, because it is not simply they will become weak and all, sometimes physically impaired, sometimes they are just wasted. Okay. So to avoid that, it should be done, and this is one of the target of the WFP. You have seen in India, that's why we are having Matri Vandan schemes and all, where the mother, newly mothers, they are given some amount, whether it is sufficient or not, we do not know. Then they also work on emergency relief. Okay, wherever some any kind of emergency, because emergencies, crisis, the first immediate effect is what? It is on food. So they and resettling, after resettling is a big task, so they help in that. So far what they have done, that was their action plan. They have decided to work like that. So far what they have done, resilience building, means that is the each and every area should be developed. self-reliance, as Gandhi told before itself, no, every village should be self-reliant, self-sufficient. We need not to depend on anybody else. Then emergency relief, humanitarian support and services, food assistance, cash based also. They provide in cash, I told you, no, not in kinds sometimes. And then country capacity strengthening. Every nation, the state, because they are also member of UNO, no, they are asked to strengthen their capacity. Wherever some kind of monetary help is needed, monetary help is done. And then they also focus on South-South cooperation. Okay, cooperation among the underdeveloped nation or developing nations, that is more easy and more possible. So they focus on these issues. I'm not going in detail because now time is so WFP in India, what it is doing, it has taken some program in India also, and in India we are 14, as I told you, we are on 94th place, which is the actually disgusting stage for us, and it has been working in India since 1963. Okay, and it has helped in working of transition from food distribution to technical assistance. Actually, in India, what is about this scheme of PDS? No, it's a really wonderful scheme. Day and day, it is growing mature, and free food and cheap food is provided to people. Yet people are not getting it. That is the where is the problem we should see. So they focus in India, they focus on distribution system. These are the areas where WFP is working in India, transforming the targeted public distribution. Okay? To whom food should reach, who are deprived. Okay? There only the distribution system should be in such a way that it should reach to the needy people. Again, one example, like there are Anganwadis in villages, and lots of cereals and food is provided for the pregnant women. Through Panchayat it comes. And it is my own experience. I have seen in my village, the village name itself is Pandepur. It is in Jaunpur district of Uttar Pradesh. What these people they do, whatever comes for children, that sattu and all, highly nutritious, the people who are working there, they bring it home and give it to their animals. So government fails because of this type of actions also, no? Any government, I'm not talking about this government or that government. Whatever government is giving, at least let it reach to the people. That is not happening, no, because of corruption, because of our mentality. Then fortification of government distributed food, that it should, there are so many projects they have taken that through the government, what kind of food should be there, it should prevent the malnourishment under the people. And they are also preparing food insecurity mapping. Okay, which are the areas, problem areas, where really this problem is persisting, and how to remove it. And Indian government is also taking a good part. If you read the report of economic survey of this year, there is one chapter on thalinomics. Thalinomics is what? Thali means a plate of food. So they have tried to calculate what is the price of one plate of food. Okay, and whether that one plate of food, one normal Indian can afford it or not. Okay, so they have calculated in such a way, roughly, exact number I don't remember, roughly they say 10,000 plus. If suppose in one household there are 5 members and they eat 2 vegetarian thali per person, so in 1 year they have to spend some 10,000 or above amount for whole year of 2 healthy thalis per day. So it's if you calculate one day, one thali price, it is very meager, but sometimes no calculations and all. But if you should see that website, it's actually quite interesting. No, each and everything is calculated there. The price of turmeric, the price of whatever we use in one normal food, and of non-veg thali, it is 11,000 something. Okay, so they have tried to prove that though the price of food is one thali has increased in 2018-19, but affordability has increased. The people of India are able to afford it. Likewise, they have tried to justify. And these are the schemes which Indian government has taken to do or to get the target of zero hunger. Annadata Ay Sanskar, then Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sichai, then third scheme is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima is there, then soil health, card soil health is there, then e-National Agriculture Market, National Food Security Mission, National Food Security Act. So many things are there, but how they are implemented, how they will reach to people, that's the problem is there only. There is no scarcity of policies. Okay, policies are there, but their implementation, the people who are implementing, the people who are involved in that, the bureaucrats, the lower cadre of administration, how sincere they are with that. Okay, so what should be our role in achieving zero hunger? What can we do as individual, you and me? What can we do? We also can play our role by, first thing I feel that we can start by not wasting food. And then some, they are having, but WFP is having one app for donation. Even just 10 rupees also if we donate, it matters. Okay, so my request is, let us join hands together, okay, for eradicating, making world free from hunger. So other problems also can be taken into consideration. First, we should eradicate this. First, we should remove hunger from this world. Thank you for listening. Thanks, everyone. And if you are having any doubts, any questions, you can ask me. I'm not able to see my screen. Why? Kumaraguru, I'm not able to listen you. Kumaraguru, I'm not able to listen you. Let me stop this screen sharing first. It's paused. Stop share. Now you can ask me questions, or you can share your views also. Okay, what you think about hunger. If you people are interested, you can share your views, or you can ask if you are having some doubt regarding my presentation.
Hello, Neela ma'am.
Yes.
Myself Dolly, PhD scholar.
Yeah, I know.
Ma'am, it was a wonderful webinar and really so mesmerized to hear all the views, well organized, and it was nicely presented. Like we got so much of information on this topic. Like we can't think over this. This is a so serious problem. In Punjab also.
I also wondered, how come in Punjab it is happening?
Yes, here in Punjab, here is a common saying, "Pet na paiyan rotiyan, sabbe galla khotiyan." Like if our stomach is empty, then all things are useless. So what are we talking about? We are the, you know, Annadata. Punjab is supposed to be the Annadata, and here is the scarcity, or you can say problem of food.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. Today I only came to know about this problem in Punjab after your information.
It
So
was new
we
thing
will,
for me also, Dolly,
yes,
because
yes,
I also came to know about. I was thinking Punjab is problem free from at least
yes,
from
yes,
food.
rich state, you know, and especially from agriculture point of view. Now we will surely join hands and do our best to solve this problem at our level. So it is. Thank you very much, ma'am. So nice of you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I am Mohammed.
Your voice is cut. Yeah, here. I'm not able to hear
Good
you.
afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I am Mohammed Yahya, PhD research scholar for public administration.
Yes.
Are you getting me?
Some break in
Am I
your voice.
audible, ma'am?
There is a disturbance. Your voice is cracking actually.
It's network issue, I think.
Network, some network problem maybe. Yes. Okay, by that time, anybody else? Anybody
I
else?
congratulate you for this brainstorming session.
Thank you. Anyone else, if want to share something, ask something, you are welcome. Even you can share your views. It is not that, because it is not one way, no? I can learn from you also. If you have some thought that this should be done this way, that way, you can please share. This is the, so many people are assembled here, no? So we can share our thoughts.
Audible now?
Now who is speaking? Who
Am I
is,
audible?
now you try.
Mohammed Yahya, am I audible?
You are audible,
Yes.
but
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
It was a wonderful, and I congratulate you, ma'am, for this brainstorming session.
Ma'am,
Yes, who wants to speak?
I'm Saidul Levi,
Yes, please.
external scholar from Kerala, doing
Please,
PhD
please.
under Dr. R. Murthy.
Okay, sir.
I had a very good presentation, very nice and very informative, ma'am. Especially, I got many information about the World Food Program, its structure and functioning at the strength and weakness. Ma'am, I have a question. I have to know something about it. You mentioned about the wastage of the food, especially wasting food in marriage parties and other parties in our in dustbin, especially in third world countries. Why should I impose a fine, ma'am? Especially, I have to know something, any legislation regarding this.
No, actually, I'm not talking about India. I just shared the view that I have heard that in Korea it happens. Okay. But it is our moral risk. See, in democracy, we cannot make such rules fine and all. No, it may be again we'll start in. We're talking about liberty, freedom. It should be our moral responsibility not to waste.
It is very essential to need a legislation regarding this.
The legislation, I think, if it is made, certainly there will be opposition. Okay. we should be morally responsible not to waste.
Okay, ma'am. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am.
Yes, I'm listening, Mujib, sir. You please go ahead.
Okay, Mujib Rahman. Sir. It was a nice presentation, very nice presentation, very informative. Thank you, ma'am. I have doubts about this. Nobel Prize for WFP.
Yeah.
Nobel Prize for WFP was given on the subject of peace.
Yes.
Peace. Why we connect with this peace and hunger?
Yeah, peace and hunger are very directly connected. Okay, because if there is no peace, see all the countries which are facing problem of hunger, they are also facing conflicts. There is no political stability. No, either they are facing war or there is domestic violence is there, means within the country, within their country. And if there is such conflicting areas are there, then everything is wasted. No, wartime, how agriculture will be done? Okay, so there is a direct connection. If peace is maintained, other things can be taken care. If there is no peace, then okay. So, and this organization, they are actually supplying, they are assisting more to those conflict nation only. The nations which are suffering from some kind of conflict, emergencies, crisis, they are giving their services to those countries. That's why this announcement or this prize has been given to them. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I think now we will be having the problem of hunger. So we can, it's a time. So we can wind up the session. Sivanation, are you there? Shall I close the session myself? Anybody is there from the Department of Political Science? No. Sivanation, shall I close?
Sir, unmute.
Huh? Where? So I think now enough time is also, it's getting late. So let me ask. I don't. Sir, சொல்லுங்க sir.
1 minute. Actually, mute. எடுக்க முடியல எனக்கு. Now, Antu Arumugham madam will give vote of thanks.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, ma'am. At the outset, I'd like to extend my warm thanks to our head of the department, Dr. C. Subramaniam, and Associate Professor, Ma'am Dr. Neelam Pandey, for organizing this wonderful event for all the research scholars, because it's such a very apt topic and one of the most important themes that needs to be picked up by all the research scholars, so that it may impact their research also in the future, you never know. And a very, very informative and very ideal lecture today delivered by ma'am, covering all aspects of this World Food Program and hunger, one of the most important sustainable development goals. So I thank our HOD and ma'am for delivering such a beautiful lecture and organizing this event for the benefit of all the scholars. Thank you so much.
Thank you.